Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Now, let me share this with everybody. Give me 1 second, guys. Welcome, everybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Thank you for those that are coming through. I'm just checking things. Hey, Vicky, how are you? Shout out to everybody. Hey, Flojo. G says, look up London Thomas in Detroit. She was killed and put in a car by her ex. Took a year to arrest him. Lord have mercy. I don't know, man. Crime, including violent offenders, is out of control in this country. Yeah, I mean, it's just so much to this. Hey, First Liberties podcast. Everybody come through. Hey, Helena, how are you? Shout out to the members. Shout out to the supporters, the subscribers. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Vicky, how are you? Shout out to my mod. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Lori, Daphne, everybody coming through. Don is in the house. Thank you guys. TCF. Shout out to you from Iceland. Oh my God. Shout out to everybody. Andressa, is that how you say your name? Let me know if I said it correctly. Hey everyone, hey Rabbit, shout out to you. Shout out to y'all. All right, we about to get started. So we are going to be covering two things today. We're going to be covering the Rebecca Haro hearing. We talked about it yesterday. We were covering it, and then we're going to go into David and just some of the things that are happening online and social media and what people are saying. Please note that this is a two-part, so you're going to get timestamps, okay? Shout out to everybody that is patient. Nobody, thank you for, first of all, shout out to you. You got definitely in the Halloween spirit. Look at you. You got the ghosts. Thank you so much for the super sticker for the $3.99. I really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you again for supporting. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, a free way to support. So let's get into Rebecca Haro. For those that have not followed this case, this is the, okay, wait, why isn't it up? Here it is. Get up, hurry up. Give me 1 second. I don't know why it's slowed down. Yes. Oh, and yes, sending prayers to the Caribbean community, friends, and family. I've been watching images with what's happening in Jamaica. Like, definitely thoughts and prayers, guys. Anything, that you guys are able to help or support, please do. I mean, I'm looking at that. I think it's Hurricane Melissa. I think that's what they named the Hurricane Melissa. Horrific situation that's happening over there. So yes, please send thoughts and prayers or any kind of support that you can send out to the to our families in the Caribbean community as well. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vicky. I was watching some images. It's pretty bad. Yes, to our Cubans as well. Shout out to the Cubans, everybody out there in Cuba. Shout out to everybody and everybody affected by the Hurricane Melissa. Yes. Okay, we're going to cut this into two parts. We're going to talk about Rebecca Haro. For those that don't know who Rebecca Haro is, some of you guys already know, but she is the woman who is facing a lot of charges pertaining to her 7-month-old who initially was reported missing. And it turns out that she has been charged with murder along with her husband, Jake Haro. Jake Haro, at the last hearing, changed his plea to guilty and made a plea to the court, to the judge. And now we had a hearing. Was it yesterday? Yes, it was. And we got some new updates, but Court TV were the ones that were able to get pictures and audio. So we're going to talk about this right now, and then we will switch over to David. Let's get into this update from Court TV, who had the cameras in there.
California, where the mother of missing baby Emmanuel Haro was back in court. Rebecca Haro is accused of murdering her 7-month-old son and then telling authorities he had been kidnapped. Haro's husband, Jake, pled guilty to the murder earlier this month, but Rebecca has not changed her plea. Joining us live in studio now to break it all down is Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. Thank you, Matt, for being with us. Of course. You've been covering this case. I understand today's hearing was...
By the way, shout out to the TikTokers that were in the court. There was a lot. They gave like the information when they get out. TCF, thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you, love. Thank you for supporting the channel. Appreciate it. Hey, Belen. Hey, everybody. James coming through. Darcy, Maggot. Thank you, guys. All right, let's get going.
Short, tell us about it.
Very important, Judge Ashley. And the case continued again. Mother of missing baby Emmanuel Haro back in a Southern California courtroom today and asking for her settlement conference to be pushed again, this time to January of next year. Rebecca Haro's last court date was moved after her husband's shocking change of plea right before his.
Y'all, she's like looking at the camera and then looking away, trying to cover her face. Do y'all see that? I cannot. This is the woman who said, they stole my son and he said, hola, and I don't remember what happened. Baby Bunny's laughing at me saying hola. She's in and out of the room. But she heard me say hola. It's like sad, but it's also, it just makes me so angry, honestly.
It was moved after her husband's shocking change of plea right before his settlement conference was set to begin. Earlier this month, confessed killer Jake Haro pled guilty to murder of 7-month-old baby Emmanuel. Back in August, you remember, both parents were charged with murder, child endangerment, and filing a false police report. Well, today, Rebecca Haro agreed to move her settlement conference by 85 days. Take a listen.
Ms. Haro, you have the right to have your preliminary hearing heard within
85 days, y'all. So this brings us, I think, mid-January. We won't know anything until mid-January. Now, we do have Jake Haro's hearing scheduled next week, just so people are aware. On the 3rd, we will be live. Okay, Shrek and his hearing is scheduled for November 3rd.
10 court days concluded within 60 calendar days of your arraignment. You waive those rights and agree instead that your preliminary hearing would be timely if held within 10 court days of January 21st. Ma'am, you're ordered back to this department on January 21st for felony settlement conference.
At this point in time, still no indication if Rebecca Haro, the mother of this baby, is looking for a plea deal. But the settlement conference and now the preliminary hearing have been moved to the end of January.
That's a big deal. I know we'll stay tuned and see what happens. But tell us about Jake entering the guilty plea. What's next for him?
He's back in court on Monday. It's going to be another big day, November 3rd, for his sentencing. Now, on Monday, we can expect those victim impact.
You know what? All of this is like, and I noticed this too, all of this is like happening so quick. And I guess I'm glad to a certain degree that Jake Haro has said what he said and confessed to what I mean, he doesn't have to work with the DA. He doesn't have to tell the DA where this baby's at or anything like that. But I am glad that this isn't they've already used the community, so to speak, right, to push a fake story of a missing child when all along he had hurt this child. Yeah, he only confessed because he knew that he was cooked. And I do wonder, even though people say, well, there was no plea deal, I wonder if there was something a little bit more backdoor. He wasn't looking into, I mean, this man should have been sentenced when he did this to the first child. It really does. Me too, honestly. It's too much. Maybe waiting to see what Jake's outcome is going to be. Right. Maybe that's why she pushed it. Maybe she wants to see what his sentence is going to be. But this woman is like, she don't look like she's crying now. She's not rocking back and forth. My baby. No, she's not. She looks well. She doesn't look pregnant either because people were saying that she was pregnant. I don't think she's pregnant.
Impact statement and possibly a statement in elocution from this confessed killer, Jake Haro, before his sentencing. Haro faces 25 years to life behind bars, but it's up to the judge to determine the sentence since his change of plea was with the court and not the Riverside County District Attorney's Office.
How do you plead to the charge in count 1 of the amended felony complaint of violation of Penal Code Section 187A?
I'm guilty.
And for clarification for the record, that's going to be in the 2nd degree?
Yes.
Sir, do you admit that you committed a violation of Penal Code Section 187, Subdivision A, a felony, in that on or about August 5th of 2025, through and including August 14th of 2025 in the county of Riverside, state of California, you did willfully and unlawfully murder baby Doe, initials EH, a human being.
I admit.
I admit.
Audio from that.
That is crazy, man. That is crazy. She only cries for Jake. Yeah, that's the only time she cried. Yeah, and I was under the impression that all the hearings were next week. But shout out to Sylvia, who let us know that yesterday was her conference settlement, or excuse me, was it preliminary hearing? I forget. I think it was preliminary hearing. That's what the docket said. And then they pushed it. They pushed it back. So maybe she's waiting to see what Jake is going to be sentenced before she decides what move she's going to make.
Recording from that hearing and a photo of him appearing to cry there in court. Baby Emmanuel's remains have never been found, not located. On Monday, Haro has the opportunity, Judge Ashley, to give that statement in elocution and just say where the baby is. He's admitted to killing that baby.
And a judge cannot force anyone to say anything, including where the baby is. But here's to hoping he does choose that route.
He's not. I don't see this. I don't see this man saying that. I don't see this man doing that. Does that make sense? I just don't. I don't at all. I don't see him admitting shit. I wish that there was some level of like, I don't know, man. I guess some level of understanding or at least peace that he can give to the community, because this crime has affected the community in so many ways. But, you know, sometimes it's crimes like that that make us realize that there's changes that need to happen. It's always like through the death of a child. It's really pissing people off, and it pisses me off too. Yeah, monsters completely. You can't justify that. And her hiding out, she had plenty of opportunity to say what was happening. No, she defended her man. She went along with it. She did the fake tears. Like, if you can lie about something like this, you're not believable anymore in my book. To use the tears to put that out there, because there are children that get kidnapped, right? They played the community. They played on our feelings. Kim says he admitted it, so there goes her plea deal, I think. Yeah, honestly. She was in there flipping hair like nothing was serious. I know. Joe noticed that. Hold up. Before I go, I did notice that. She was like flipping her hair, trying to make sure that nobody... Hold up. Let's go back. Because they got her right. Yeah. Like, girl... Who in the Pantene protein do you think you are? What the hell? I don't like you. Who in the Pantene protein does she think she is?
Again, this time to January of next year. Rebecca Haro's last court date was moved after her husband's shocking change.
Look at the camera.
Of plea right before his settlement conference was set to begin.
What tears?
Earlier this month, confessed killer Jake Haro pled guilty to murder of 7-month-old baby Emmanuel. Back in August, you remember, both parents were charged with murder, child endangerment.
What tears did she have here when they got her out of there? Nothing. Literally, like, this right here. I should have screenshotted this shit right here.
Year. Rebecca Haro's last court date was...
This is crazy, man. Give me 5 minutes with her. Give me 5 minutes with her. All right. And I know I'm not alone, okay? Pantene Pro V. Isn't it? It's Pro B, right? Pantene Pro B protein. My bad. Pantene Pro V, not protein. Shout out to everybody. All right. Yeah, she looks gross. I don't like her. I really don't. It's a glitch. Oh, look at this. FYI, multiple Microsoft services are experiencing problems and are offline. A glitch in Microsoft server caused a computer failure around the world. So if you guys are having issues with your little Microsoft products, be careful. That's right. Real judgment is coming. Absolutely. Head and shoulders. Dang, Helena. Are we giving her caspa or what? The lady got dandruff? Is that what you're saying? Why are you saying head and shoulders? Oh, we don't like her. We don't like her in this channel. No, we don't. I'm sorry. The fact that, like, I already see this already playing out. Well, she was a victim of DV. She probably was. You can't possibly be well if you're willing to do the ish that you're doing. There's no possibility that you're well. Not at all. She probably was a victim of DV, and she probably is not well, but I'm not excusing her behavior. You know, it is what it is. What timestamp was it? I think it was 12 minutes. Okay, so I came across this very interesting. So we're going to switch over to David. Shout out to everybody. You can't stand her face. Shout out to everybody. Better to put dish soap in your hair. There you go. Am I going to talk about the Amazon layoffs? That's not on my title, and I don't know anything about Amazon layoffs. I know I did see that there was like a billboard asking people to stop hiring humans or some shit like that. It's getting really rough out there, guys. Honestly, it's getting really rough out there. Make sure you guys are supporting your communities, donating if you're able to. And if you need support, make sure you go out there and seek support. It's getting really rough. That's what I know. It's AI related. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look into it. So yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what's in the title right now. But yeah, let me move on from that. Really? Well, damn. Yeah, it's not in my title. Take the title. Okay, guys, welcome everybody. Thank you. I'm like, Rabbit, give me five. Give us 5 minutes with that beast. Give us 5 minutes with that beast. There was a panel. Shout out to this channel. And I have watched this channel before. Shout out to them. Surviving the Survivor, who was ran by a journalist. And he's kind of like into true crime and stuff like that. But he's always inviting really cool, like, people in the field, detectives, investigators, advocates, and stuff like that to bring kind of light to certain situations about David, right? They talked about what's been put out there by various sources. You're welcome. Yeah. Oh, yes, it is Wednesday. So I want to talk a little bit about this, and then I want to get to some other things that I saw SF posting, some other things that people are saying timeline-wise about certain things. One of the things that I have been thinking, and I haven't gone live on David, I don't know, last time I went live maybe was for 2 days or 3 days ago on this topic. I have been asked multiple times by multiple people. And I think it's a fair conversation to have. We've had this conversation before. But I've been asked, how come Celeste's family isn't speaking out yet? Now, I know we've talked about, well, there's the language barrier, the legal status barrier. There's all kinds of things, right? Was he? I didn't know that, Marco. How come the family hasn't spoken out, not even to a Spanish-speaking outlet? And typically when I see that there's like stories with like, you know, there's like a Spanish, like if there's somebody else that speaks Spanish or can't speak the language, whatever it may be, I always look to Univision or some other, you know, outlet that might be reporting, that might have a reporter out there so that we can translate the information. I have yet to see this. Not even a close family member, right? One of the things that stands out to me that I feel like I could even speak on it and call it as a fact, right? And I thought so this too, but Joe, the family, they're legal. They're legal. They're not like, I mean, sure, you know, things are getting kind of weird out in the community and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but they are legal here. As far as their background, that's my understanding. They may not speak the language very well. So I do wonder what is going on. Boss Texas Check says Joel Wallman from Surviving the Survivor was never a prosecutor. Oh, okay. He was a journalist. He's now a book author. Okay, thank you for correcting us. Somebody said it, and that's why I repeated it. I had no idea. I just know he says he's a journalist. So that's why I'm using as far as his title. Thank you, Bossy Texas Chick, for letting me know. Now, I do know that he brings a lot of people out there to, you know, give their opinion, you know, based on their own field and stuff like that. Well, that lady who kid was snatched by ICE was all over the news looking for her son. Yeah. Yeah, it's true, right? There are people out there that are being wrongfully detained by ICE. I think we could say that. People should not have to be offended by that. It's a fact. Okay, I've known of people that have been wrongfully detained by ICE based on racial profiling. That is a thing. No worries, Marco. No worries. But we got corrected. Don't worry, love. So I think it's okay to say that, right? That the fear of being detained and letting them know, like, listen, I'm a legal resident, or I have my citizenship, or whatever it may be. It's a real fear of people, right? So I have to kind of wonder, how do we weigh that in? But also, is there more to this? Is it possible that the family knew, and I think that they did know about David, given the fact that the name was given to TMZ? Okay. That's one piece of information. Given the fact that sounds like brother was having conversations with people and said that they knew about David, and the many sightings of her, Celeste, when she was quote unquote missing, but not really. You have to kind of wonder. You have to kind of wonder, right? What is going on? Give me 1 second. So this is where I'm going with this, right? There were many sightings of this girl when she was missing, right? Since like that missing poster from 2024. She was spotted with the Sureños. She went to a graduation. She was with family. She was all over the place, right? Family has also decided to like remove certain things because they also see a lot of the social media people kind of looking into their personal Facebooks, which does happen. But for example, that picture of her at graduation with her her name is Esmeralda, with her cousin. People knew that Celeste was missing, but she shows up to a graduation. So people knew that this girl was missing, but they didn't do anything, right? Like they didn't say, well, let me let the people know that she's actually here. Let's follow up with this situation, right? The level of seriousness, which tends to happen a lot when a kid is on the run, they kind of go, a child that's on the run chronically is essentially put in a website, and that is a way in which it's not like an alert in terms of let's go find her because she's missing. It's more like giving people the heads up that she's missing and that if they see her, to return her home, that type of situation. Okay, so it does kind of make you wonder, well, what do we do with this information? What we know that she's missing. Did y'all know that she's what did the family, what actions or inaction did the family make or do here? What happened here? It makes you wonder. Yeah, SF did make a comment about that. And like I said, it's a valid point because then it gets into the conversation, well, if mom knew who David was, then she had to have known. She said that David was her boyfriend. That's what she told TMZ. She had to have known this. The bigger picture is that people don't see this. And especially, and I'll speak for the Latino community because I come from that and I understand that. There's this thing in our community, and it does happen, and we have to own it, where it becomes acceptable for young women to be with older men, especially if they have resource, money, or they're well off one way or another. It's I'm sorry, it's the fact, right? I dated an older guy when I was young. My people were aware of it. It's a thing. So I think we have to kind of be mindful that, like, there was a lot of inaction, and Celeste is a victim here. That's just how it is. There was a lot of inaction, and Celeste is a victim here, and we can't be excusing that for anybody, culturally or not, right? So it makes me think, in my opinion, this is why the family has not spoken out publicly, more so than the whole legal situation, right? Immigration is one thing, but it does make me wonder if this is why they don't want to be, thrown to the wolves. Because think about it. Mom called TMZ and she was willing to speak to TMZ, and then TMZ puts out the information. But now we have a situation where they're like, oh shit, are they going to come after me because they know that, I did this? Even Chronicle Speaks, shout out to Chronicle Speaks. She put out a timeline of how often Celeste's mom, reposted her missing child. One time she posted it on her Facebook. It wasn't reposted. It wasn't shown again. It wasn't a thing that it was like, guys, keep my child in your prayers. Mom was well aware that there was a boyfriend. His name was David, and that she might be in this situation. Now, the question becomes is, who was hiding around? Was she also with family? Was she also outside of that? It makes you wonder, right? There's a lot to this. And this isn't to blame, but it's also to have a conversation about awareness. Yeah, like Neymar, the aunt, I believe, reposted it. The mom didn't, right? Yes. Very similar. And I hate that case. I can't even talk about that case because it makes me so mad, right? Where mom allowed, like Madeline Soto, I can't even, I don't even want to bring it up because it makes me so upset. There needs to be more to this. And I also believe that allegedly, in my opinion, I don't think Neo the Asian or these other individuals that were close to David were the only ones that were aware of the situation. There's a lot more to this. That were aware of the situation. I couldn't imagine any part of the history. As a parent, breaks my heart. Everybody failed this child. The school was aware, guys. If you start thinking about the way in which the narrative was painted out there, the things that we knew and we didn't know, right? Exactly. People knew where she was at, even though we had a missing poster out there. She attended a graduation. She got into a verbal altercation with the North Siders. We saw that. She told them, I'm not Mexican, I'm Salvadorian. Y'all remember that, right? There's a lot more to this. She said, but you didn't have the balls to call the police for a missing person report filing. Why not have those same balls to say where she is? Nothing about how the family is moving sits well with me. Yeah. Absolutely. People know where Nova is at and do nothing. You can make a correlation to this, right? People know where Nova's at and did nothing. People know. Now, I think we have to be kind of mindful of like how we navigate this and how we talk about this, right? But I just wanted to put this out here that I find it interesting, and I'll say it loudly. And if any other family members are listening to any of this, si ustedes están escuchando este video, ¿por qué no han hablado con un medio que hable español? ¿Por qué no han dicho nada? ¿Por qué no han puesto, o sea, la información acerca de esta situación para que la gente escuche? Si ustedes sabían que Celeste andaba con este hombre de 20 años, ¿qué hicieron o no hicieron para poder cuidar a esta niña? That's the question. And that's a message in Spanish for them. No es echándole culpa, pero es para aclarar la situación. Y ojalá y estén trabajando con la policía y dándoles información, porque no están dando información a ustedes pública. La gente y la familia, la comunidad ha donado porque a ellos les importa la historia de Celeste. Y la historia de Celeste es una historia que muchos jóvenes están allá en las mismas situaciones. Tenemos que hacer más para la comunidad, para educar a la comunidad y salvar a niños como Celeste, niños y niñas. I'm working with a prisoner in California who has been there for 30 years and is innocent, and I know all about those gangs. Her parents were probably afraid to do anything. Potentially. We don't know. Essentially, I don't think that it ever works well to tell people, to blame people, right, in the community. I believe that they were dealing with a lot, in my opinion, with Celeste, but they didn't know how. But as a parent, you don't stop. You don't stop. Give me one sec. Sorry about that. So essentially just giving them the heads up, like, I don't agree with this. Why would you call ICE on the parents? What is that supposed to do, Budgie Cat? What is calling ICE on the parents, especially if they're not undocumented, supposed to do? This is the kind of stuff that really gets to me, like this shit right here. What is that supposed to do? Explain that to me. Like literally, because this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for some idiot to say some shit like this. Explain that to me. What is calling ICE supposed to do? Don't block the person. This person, I want to see what they have to say. What is that supposed to do? Yeah, they're legal. What is ICE supposed to do to somebody that's legal? Yeah, they're trolling. Yeah, I'm assuming because they don't have the balls to answer. So it is what it is. That's what I'm saying is like you got idiots like this that will say just about anything to get a reaction. I just don't think that that works. I know, so you don't call ICE. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I think they're avoiding authorities for some reason. So yeah, haha, why I said ICE or CPS. So you just call just about anybody. Because ICE is supposed to do what? Investigate the crime? ICE is supposed to give us answers about what happened to Celeste. That's not even their ballpark. ICE is supposed to interrogate them. Okay, I don't know what's so funny about that, but let me come back when you have more of I don't know, something to the situation. Yeah, anyway, I know crickets, I just don't get it. Okay. It's just my thought, guys, just my thought. I think that we have to kind of keep in mind that, you know, information is going to flow a little bit different, but I do feel like that I just wonder about the family too. At the end of the day, Celeste is a victim as much as even people that have come in my comments try to like minimize that. Well, she wanted to be there. I don't care if she wanted to be there. She's still a victim. You don't get to give up. You don't get to give up on your child. You know? You don't. Yeah, we don't need that BS in there at all. Absolutely. Okay, I want to get into this. I really liked, shout out to, again, check them out. I'll share their channel here. It is the Surviving the Survivor. I just like their commentary. It was very interesting. Let's get into this.
Like you do over here. And I sometimes wonder about the way crimes are dealt with over here. I was sadly privy to a court case, which was a sex trafficking of a very young girl. And the actual offender got more for stealing the car that he trafficked her in than he did for trafficking the girl.
They asked her the question, do you believe that Celeste would have been susceptible to trafficking? Which I think is a fantastic question, because I do believe, in my opinion, that Celeste would have, maybe she did or did encounter something like that. At the end of the day, she was groomed, right? In this David situation, we can all agree to that. Sounds like she might have been groomed. She might have been a victim of grooming. Something happened here. But do we know whether David is the only person? What if there were other people? We know that this had been going on for quite some time. This little connection with David. So yeah, she would have been susceptible to, S trafficking. But let me go right to the question, because I don't want to skip over. It was a great question. I think it was like right over here. Now she's speaking from the UK part, which I thought was interesting. I was like, okay, it's interesting how they see laws over there, but okay.
Obviously, we do things really differently. I'm still getting my head around the misdemeanor felony kind of road that you have over here. But yeah, I hear things all the time and I'm like, are you serious? But again, that's because we do things very differently over in the UK. But
in what sense, Nina? In what sense?
When you say, I don't think she was groomed. So explain to me how what do you mean? Like, say more when you say, I don't think she was groomed. Say more. Truly, like, I really want to know what your thoughts are. I've heard people say this in my comments, but not during the live show. Say more when you say, I don't think she was groomed.
I say we're very black and white, because it's either this is a crime or it's not. It's not very often that you will have something that's, obviously there's lesser crimes and lesser sentences, but to us in the UK, a crime's a crime. We don't separate it into different kind of segments like you do over here. And I sometimes wonder about the way crimes are dealt with over here. I was sadly privy to a court case, which was a sex trafficking of a very young girl. And the actual offender got more for stealing the car that he trafficked her in than he did for trafficking the girl. And that was over here. So, I mean, I'm no expert, I'm not a lawyer, but when I look at it from being heavily involved in law enforcement, then yeah, I agree. I think some things here just don't make any sense.
Yeah,
okay.
And I agree with you completely.
Somebody gets more time maybe stealing a car than they would making offenses on children. This is very interesting thing to say. I don't think she was groomed. I don't know what you mean each other. Okay. She was 11 and he was 16 when they started this whole thing. She could have easily said she was closer to 16 and they probably started dating. And then when the truth came out, they thought they loved each other. So you don't think it's grooming because at some point they might have met when she was 11 and he was 16. I think you're off by your timing. Just my opinion, though. Yeah, I don't know about that. She was 11 and offline. Yes, that's right. Yes, Vicky, she is speaking on the UK law, not US. Yeah, is he talking about Romeo and Juliet law? So you're saying by age, like they are, she was 11, he was 16. So that by that logic, it's not grooming because they knew each other from before. And the fact, give me one sec, y'all. I'm just wondering, like, I'm trying to understand the logic here behind this. You think that it has to do with the fact that they knew each other before, therefore this can't be grooming. I didn't think that there was Romeo and Juliet laws in California either. That's what I think is weird too. Oh, like I say more. Like this is the first time I've seen somebody in the live chat say that it wasn't grooming. So you think by the logic that they dated each other from before, that would not be grooming, right? So if my child, if I have an 11-year-old child and she starts talking to a 16-year-old and they fall in love with each other, that's not grooming? Yeah, you don't have to be closer in age for Romeo and Juliet law to apply. But I don't think it even applies in California, right? Yeah, grooming is grooming, right? You could be, let's, for those that don't know, right? Because this is a child, so it's a little bit different. Children are looked a little bit different in terms of grooming. An adult can be groomed too by another adult, right? But just because they're in the same 11 to 16, I don't see how that there's a bit of a fallacy in that situation, in my opinion. I definitely think that it's grooming. Okay. Even if say that she was, 11 and he was 15. Yeah, there's a definite difference in that. It's weird, but okay. I don't know. He said he was around the industry. She was in middle school and this is disturbing and he needs to be locked up. Yeah. An 11-year-old doesn't know a damn thing about love or falling in love. She was a child. Yeah, it's just, I don't know how you do that. Grooming is a crime involving the deliberate and manipulative process. Hold up, y'all. Sorry, y'all. The sitter's coming and going. Grooming is a crime involving the deliberate and manipulative process of building a relationship of trust with a vulnerable individual, most often a minor, for the purpose of sexual exploitation. Okay. So why wouldn't you think that a 16-year-old couldn't groom an 11-year-old? Why? I guess I'm confused. Why would that? You don't feel like David did that. You don't feel like there was manipulation in that. Yeah. Even if two minors close in age voluntarily engage in intercourse, they would both be legally be subject to criminal liability. Yeah. Thank you, Vicky. I mean, I'm here for the argument. I guess I'm confused. The law doesn't give an F about it if you're in love or not. Right, Kristen. Doesn't matter. That the love part does not matter. Like that, I don't know what to tell you about that. Thank you, Vicky, for breaking that down for us as well. I don't know what kind of logic, but I mean, the fact that you would say that's not grooming, and then you're giving me, well, because they met here, that doesn't matter. It's grooming. It's grooming. She's still a minor. That's exactly what happened. Yeah. Why didn't he fall in love with the person his own age? That's the question. Did I see the mods comment? Who's mod? What are you talking about? I'm confused. What are you talking about? What mod comment? Shout out to the mods. He wanted control. Yeah. Okay. No, don't let them try. No, and I think it's a good question though, Robin. Honestly, it's a good question because there is this idea. There are people. This is what I've seen in my comments from the other side. That's not grooming. I'm like, huh? And then when you explain it, well, because they knew each other before, or because it's only this much different, or Romeo and Juliet law, and I'm like, huh? What? And that's what I thought. There was no Romeo and Juliet law, including minors to engage in relations with intercourse with someone else who is under the age of 18. No. Thank you. And that's exactly what I explained. An adult can be groomed. This is a thing. Adults can be groomed too into situations. We see it all the time. I've seen older people get groomed. Yes. And then they get, susceptible to crimes. So yeah, definitely. Right. He said, it's gross. She's a kid and him being a teen. Right. So there's no excuse for it. That's why I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Because he would have to be doing it all just to take advantage of her. And in my opinion, that's not what was going on. People with money take advantage of people and not even know it all the time. How do we know, and this is just a question, how do you know that the family wasn't being paid by D4VD? So because the family didn't cry and say, well, he was paying us or he was taking advantage of her, that somehow means that it didn't happen? There is a power imbalance here that is going on. It happens all the time between a celebrity and someone as a non-celebrity. All the time. He wasn't given a runaway teenage boy. Right. He wasn't helpful in this situation at all. Potentially, we don't know. We don't know anything. I don't know. The more that the parents don't speak out at this point, it leaves for speculation, right? So for me, it's like we have to understand that, like, I'm just not going to make an excuse at all for D4VD. Okay. Sorry about that. It says, just like Bill, David sent 9K to Celeste in Discord. Well, we saw that screenshot, right? What 12 or 13-year-old has in a bank account? Well, what 12 and 13-year-old has $10,000 or asked for that? It's weird, but yeah, it's weird to me. Money will make people do different things, right? No, they have not spoken out. We were just talking about the parents here. Nobody. I haven't seen anything. That's what we were questioning. Like, what's going on? I do think that's how they met through the game. Maybe, right? The G word is being flagged. Oh, okay. Well, then you guys got to misspell the grooming word. Misspell it. It gets flagged, guys. I don't know what to do. I can't control it too much. There's some words that are sensitive. Yes, that is a thing. Words are sensitive and they do get flagged. That's why you guys get asked to misspell them. Okay. Was Celeste looking to escape? Right? Yes, this is a good way. Put some zeros in there and a 1. Thank you. Why didn't you think David killed her? It's in a song. Well, we don't know that. We don't know who did what. Could it have been a setup? Potentially, maybe David's crime at this point, allegedly, who knows, was that he was encouraging or harboring a runaway. We don't know the in-between. We're going to let the sex crimes unit determine that, right? We're going to figure that out. Okay? We don't know. We don't know what happened there. We don't. Exactly. Thank you for telling them this. And grooming has more than one meaning, more than one way to manipulate. It is not black and white. Okay? Maybe somebody is setting them up. Maybe let's just put that out there. Maybe that's what it is. Somebody's setting them up. Okay. She's still a victim. She still somehow ended up in the trunk of his car. How does that happen? What I find so interesting, and I think people need to pay attention, is this willful narrative of TMZ to try to change a couple things. And they're doing it by way of attacking people. Certain people that might be close to the investigation. I think that that's what they're doing, in my opinion. SF Investigates pointed this out, and I want to read it. Okay? When a missing person report is filed, it is a serious matter. The person is entered into NCIC, which is mandated by the FBI. Maintained by the FBI. In California, they are also added to the California Department of Justice Missing Person database, and minors are entered into the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children system. Behind the scenes, detectives, case advocates, investigators, and others are actively working to locate the missing individual. If a missing person is found by their family, the family has a duty to notify law enforcement. At that point, law enforcement conducts a locate, meaning an officer meets with the missing person in person to confirm their identity, understand the circumstances of their disappearance, and verify that they are not in danger to themselves or others. Okay. So that's an interesting point, right? It just tells you a little bit of the process. Now, again, SF has dealt with missing persons. He's out there looking. He's found missing people as well. So he understands this process a little bit more. The first time Celeste was reported missing was February 14 of 2024. The exact same day Josh Marshall took possession of the rental house. Okay. Pay attention to the date. February 14 of 2024. Even though we have seen her in footage and stuff like that, even though she was photographed in graduations and stuff like that, it's the first time she was reported missing. The last time she was reported missing was April 5th, 2024. But was she truly missing? On May 30th, 2024, Celeste attended her cousin Esmeralda's high school graduation. See the photo attached. That's the photo on my thumbnail. In September, she was seen on video fighting with neighbors at the Lake Elsinore home. So why didn't any family member notify law enforcement that she was safe? You're supposed to when you have a missing child or a child that's running away, right? Possibly because they were notified, it would trigger a CPS investigation, potentially, or more. From the start, someone close to the situation in Lake Elsinore told me that after the last report, certain family members instructed neighbors not to search for Celeste because she was staying with family members near Los Angeles. Is that why we haven't heard a word publicly from her family? That is the question, right? Why have we not heard from the family? Again, we could say a bunch of things. It could be ICE. It could be different things. It could be a lot, right? Or it could be the fact that this would then take a different route in terms of what was acceptable, what they accepted from Celeste, why they stopped maybe advocating for her to return home, what happened exactly in the front, right? It's a lot to this. So let's keep going. Esmeralda, I have a question for you. This is what SF says. Did you attend an event with David and Celeste on April 21st, 2024? Was family also attending these events? I'm also curious as to why Celeste was attending your graduation, yet was still considered a runaway and not enrolled in school. And the school president, asked the school president, Esmeralda, it seems you knew better than that. There's Esmeralda. I think Esmeralda is in college now. She's deleted a couple of photos with Celeste. Yeah. What do you guys think? Yeah, what happened around this time? He had a place to stay. Then, don't forget, even though this is more to look into, we don't know. There was these photos. When she went live, it looked like it was like an Airbnb or an apartment that was already furnished. Right? Yeah. Esmeralda was the one getting paid. Well, was she around? Sounds like she might have been. Sounds like she might have attended some events, right? Something's going on. Yeah. If there was ever a movie style created story in the internet era, this seems like it would be the most obvious one ever. Everything about it is weird and sketchy. Period. I agree. How the hell your family and you find out your family was murdered, possibly, and you stay silent and remove photos together? That is sad. Disconnect. I mean, if this is how I see, right? And if you ask the public, for funds for a funeral. The public's going to want to know where this investigation is going. In my opinion, I think the family should, if not mom or somebody else, give something. But maybe the reason that they're not doing it is because then it would shine the light on certain things, so some inactions and actions that they took, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just wouldn't surprise me. I think that's what everything says. Now, another person who has put, I think, a really good timeline in this is Matthew or Matt from TikTok. And he kind of outlines this as well. Celeste family likely knew who she was with and where. Let's get into this.
Discussed how Celeste Rivas Hernandez's last proof of life at this specific moment is from January 2nd, 2025. Prior to this date, there were photos taken of Celeste, videos taken of Celeste, fairly regularly. So why did that abruptly stop on January 2nd, 2025, based on what we know, again, at this specific moment? Now let's do a recap of the timeline of events, because I feel like a lot of people are getting the dates and stuff mixed up here.
Yeah.
So February 14th, 2024, Celeste is reported missing for the first time. This also just so happens to be Valentine's Day, and the day that Josh Marshall, David's manager, rented that Hollywood Hills home for him to occupy.
That all happened the same day. Again, this is information that SF Investigates puts out. This is, I think, where Matt might have gotten his information as well. I know that these two don't necessarily care for each other. I really don't care about the in-between. I really just want to get to the facts of the story like a lot of us do. And that's kind of where we're at.
March 19th, 2024, Celeste is reported missing for a second time, and then she's reported missing for a third and final time by family on April 5th, 2024. On April 21st, 2024, while Celeste is again still considered a missing juvenile, she is apparently seen somewhere with David and her cousin Esmeralda. This is implied by the PI who is now working for the homeowner of that Hollywood Hills home that David was staying at. It's unclear what event this was that
that I do wonder what event, but remember what SF is sitting on, that he's got, I guess, more information about the situation as far as what's happening there. There is no sense, Natasha, in this story. I agree with you. And it bothers me that TMZ is the highest voice because they're in the know of a lot of this, right? But why was it so important? Here's a question that I have, right? Ask yourselves this question. When TMZ did that video with the Angry Men podcast, whatever, why was it so important to discredit SF? And they didn't even discredit him because they literally put some shit out there that he didn't even say. Why was it so important for TMZ to put that out there? Everybody's got to work for somebody, right? Everybody works for somebody when it comes to this industry. Everybody knows somebody somehow. You know, everybody moves information the way that they do. This is how it works. Why was this important? Why? That's the question.
Three of them were apparently together, or at least at the same time, because Esmeralda cleared her social media pages. But after doing some digging, I was able to find one social media account of hers that she has not wiped clean, and there is a photo of her around this time period at a California theme park. And it just so happens to be David posted to his TikTok a video of him riding a roller coaster at a theme park. Could be a coincidence, could not be, I'm not sure. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Now back to our timeline. On May 30th, 2024, again, while Celeste is still considered a missing juvenile, she attends her cousin Esmeralda's high school graduation. I don't know, it seems like Celeste and Esmeralda were pretty close to one another, and Esmeralda was also the one who created the GoFundMe page for Celeste's funeral expenses. On June 2nd, 2024, Celeste is seen on video around.
See, and I don't know, is that really Celeste? Because I mean, it looks like Celeste, but people were saying, well, that's not really Celeste. It's another cousin that looks like Celeste, I guess. I don't know. Brittany says, I heard about this too. And this is what I'm going to say about that. I really think that maybe that's something that Tier Talk needs to reach out to SF Investigates and ask about that. If maybe there's more information as to what happened exactly with that. I think that Everybody is entitled to do whatever they want to in terms of, like, if that's their property, right? They, if the landlord wants to know what happened, maybe he wants to shine some light into what happened, then that's on him. Why don't people reach out to SF to get some clarity? That's my question. It's like, that's the question that I have. Reach out to SF, get some clarity as far as like what information you find. Cause I'm telling you, SF will answer if there's a question. He doesn't shy away from that. I think where things get a little bit misconstrued is if people start putting words in his mouth or start like pushing a narrative that he didn't say. I think it's a fair assessment. Celeste has a distinct face. Do you think this is Celeste, the one in that picture right there? I don't know. You said, I mean, TMZ was probably at the funeral. Yeah, TMZ knew when that funeral was out. They got the first pictures of that, right? They had the first pictures out that. So it does make you kind of wonder. Okay, let's keep going.
Driving to a family event. She hugs who I believe is her uncle and her aunt when she gets to this party. And then in September of 2024, we see that video footage of Celeste arguing with her dad's neighbors outside. So like we've been saying, the family of Celeste knew that she wasn't technically missing because she was coming around family still. She was still apparently talking to family. Her brother knew who she was around. Her cousin,
Yes.
Esmeralda, seems to have known who she was.
And might have even been around some of these parties and stuff like that. Andrea says, isn't it time for a toxicology report to come out? I think we're still in that time frame. I heard somebody predicted that there was going to be some kind of information on the 24th of October. Did it happen on the 24th of October? That's not the picture that a video. Look it up. Okay. But you can't. I'll check it out. I wonder. I don't know. Hold up. Let me see. Things are starting to make sense. The cousin Esmeralda definitely knows more. Well, was she staying with the cousin? Was she staying with other people? And maybe they just didn't even like not report her, like, tell the law enforcement that she was not actually missing. I don't know, man. But I feel like somebody predicted. Somebody said, "Oh, we're gonna find out information on 24th." This is why be careful with predictions, y'all, because predictions are just that, predictions. They could be wrong.
Was around, yet nobody ever contacted authorities to let them know that Celeste wasn't a missing juvenile anymore. And I think that is because they didn't want an investigation to open up as to why Celeste was not attending school like a normal child her age. And I personally think that at this point, after Celeste had ran away 3 times, the family probably just thought it was easier to let her be wherever she was at instead of forcing her to come back home and dealing with her running away over and over and over again. And
this is a thing that does happen where like chronic runaways, I don't want to deal with, sure, there's a run report. I'm not even going to deal with it because I find it interesting that mom never really retweeted that or like forward that Facebook. It's a Facebook post. She never continued to post it. Did anybody really care about what was going on? That's the question that I have. SF started to say that he always maintained that it was an accidental death. But that's not how I remember it. I remember that he said that as well. But I also remember that there was the narrative of the concerning part of was it sadistic about how they try to get rid of her. Things that were found that would have led you to believe that they were trying to get rid of her. So I think it could go both ways. I think when people are listening to SF or other people that are reporting on this, people are literally looking for like full meanings of things. And I think you kind of have to keep an open mind on this because at the end of the day, he's a PI and he's going to do what he has to do and not give you everything because why would he? He's not working for us, right?
I think that at this point, it's safe to assume that Celeste's family knew who she was with and where she was with. The mom said that she knew Celeste was dating someone by the name of David. The brother is saying that he knew she was dating David, the singer, the adult. And I don't think that they actually cared. Now, this PI has recently stated that he spoke.
They didn't care. Did they know what to do with it? Did they give up? Did they say, well, she's just going to keep running to him? It is what it is. Like, why are we dealing with this? Let her do what she does. Could very well be the case. But the family can't say we didn't know because family members knew about David, right?
spoke to a few people that are in the community that Celeste's family lives in Lake Elsinore, and he was told by them that at the point that Celeste was reported missing for the third time, the family members, certain ones, started instructing neighbors not to search for Celeste because she was, quote, staying with a family member near LA. Now, we still don't know who Celeste was staying with when she was not with David. In one of the recent PI's interviews, he stated that he believes that Celeste was staying at an apartment with someone else. So could her family have been telling the truth? Maybe Celeste was actually staying in the LA area with...
It could be that some family members knew and some families, you know, because I've seen this happen before where it's like, you know, a child might stay with another family member, but like, you know, mom or dad might be like, well, just keep an eye on her. You know, she wants to stay over there, you know, stay over there. And then that allows her to have another spot to kind of come and go. And whatever conflict might be going in the home, that allows her to have another spot. She had to have been staying somewhere where, you know, David had access to her. David knew. She was able to come and go as well.
A family member, maybe her cousin. I will say that it's interesting looking at Esmeralda, the cousin's information, because it seems like she moved across the country to attend college for the 2024-2025 school year. So if Celeste was maybe staying with Esmeralda somewhere in LA, and Esmeralda ends up going to school across the country, comes back around the holidays in 2024, but then goes back to school in January of 2025, that is around the same time period that Celeste was last seen. I'm not saying that Esmeralda had any knowledge or anything to do with Celeste's death, but I'm just saying that this would...
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean, I don't think her cousin had anything of that sort, but it's just sad because it's like, well, did the cousin know what? Sad all around, guys. It really is.
Given whoever was around Celeste at this time opportunity to be around her alone, and it also would indicate why maybe the person that is typically around her living with her did not know that she may have been dead for so long because they were not physically in the residence with her at that time. I don't know, I'm thinking out loud, piecing things together as I go. What do you guys think of all of this? This is all very suspicious, and regardless of whatever happened, many people failed Celeste by choosing to not check in on her, by choosing to not get her the help that she probably needed, and by choosing to not support her in healthy ways instead of just allowing her to run rampant and do whatever she wanted with whoever she wanted. All right, guys, so in my last video,
I agree. There's a lot of failures, and this is why I'm like, I don't understand how people don't see Celeste as a victim. Like, Celeste is a victim. Even if she didn't want to stay in one, even if she's a child, guys, she's just not there developmentally to make these kinds of life-altering decisions about being with somebody that was older than her, right? She's a child. She's a victim. And a lot of people failed her. Everybody failed her. People need to realize that. I'm not a fangirl of any of these people, you know, but this is a thing. It's like, how do you defend something like that? You can't, in my opinion. You can't. Well, they were in love when she was 11 and he was 16. No, still grooming. And grooming has so many different meanings, right? It doesn't matter if you met him when this happened or that happened. Adults get groomed all the time too. It's crazy. People selectively choose what they want to believe in a situation like this. And I truly hope that, I don't know, man. I don't know if there has been anybody. I would think that a network would have reached out to, you know, the parents, but maybe they're declining to speak because this could very well be a thing where they show a different side of the family dynamic. Could there be fear? Sure. I don't take that away from anybody. It's a real thing out there right now, right? But again, somebody needs to say something and advocate for what happened here. That's just my thought. Yeah. Was she ever referred to truancy? That's the question. Did she have any truancy? Some of those records are private because they're juvenile, right? So that might not even be available for us to review. Keep that in mind. It might not be. Oh, sorry. I hit the like button. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that they can pull a cell tower records. Yeah. And ping, right? What did her phone? Somebody was keeping her. Somebody was keeping her. All right, guys, I got to go because I got to tend to baby Bunny. Y'all know she was too much. Thank you guys for being patient. The sitter was like, she's doing too much. So we got to come in and out here in these situations, you know. But shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for being so patient and being so respectful in the chat. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation with the parents. I really do. At least a statement, right? Because at the end of the day, it was a community that donated money to her service. I really do believe that it's important to bring some clarity to this case, even though they don't want to, but I think it's important. I do. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hit the like button. Bye, guys. And thank you for those that supported the channel. Thank you, guys. Bye.